Okay, so let's dive in. I want to talk to you guys about the secret ingredient to setting a lot more appointments. Let me stand up because standing up is much more powerful. Boom. All right, so as I was reflecting on, okay, how do I help these prospectors really get to that next level of result? And we talked a lot last week about the leads. We talked about buyer motivation. We talked about a lot more of these questions. And I just want you guys to know that there's two ways this thing can play out with you and your boss. You could just be a dialer that follows a really simple script and just flags people that are interested and passes it over. So you can maintain that dialer position. So that's fine, and it works. What I'm interested is you being a powerful prospector, someone who has the skills, the ability, the insight to be able to prospect, not only just identify great leads, but then establish an amazing conversation that really delivers someone who's motivated, someone who has a time frame, someone who has a plan, and someone who has a basic level of trust and a little bit of rapport and some respect for you and what you've done. That is what I'm interested in, because that's how we're going to create extraordinary results. So, one of the key things, the secret ingredient to setting a lot of appointments is, if I can get it up on the screen, okay, is gaining rapport, gaining trust, and gaining respect with complete strangers so that they'll answer all your questions. That's the secret ingredient, is rapport, trust, and respect. That's what we're trying to go after here. So how do we do that? How do you set appointments effectively with someone that you just met for the first time? How does that happen? And some of you guys have done such a great job. Well, the truth is, it is this thing called consultative selling. And consultative selling is simply just asking enough questions to find out exactly how we can help them. So, when someone says, sure, I'm interested in selling my property, but not now. Consultative selling says we ask more questions. Someone says, sure, I'm interested in a home evaluation report, only via email. That's great. Consultative selling says we ask more questions, right? So we are really practicing the art of consultative selling in this program all the time. Introducing ourselves to strangers, letting them know about particular service that we're offering, asking them enough questions to find out if they are actually interested into that service, and at what level are they interested. Are they interested in the highest level of motivation? They want to make a move, they have a plan, they've got a reason why, they're ready to execute that plan. Fantastic. Set an appointment with them face-to-face immediately. Okay. We meet a stranger, they have an interest in selling, not anytime soon, interested in a home evaluation point, but don't want to talk to the agent yet, just want it via email. Boom, see, good. And then when would be the appropriate time for us to follow up with them? What's the appropriate follow-up time? Consultative selling. Okay? So if we're going to effectively ask people a lot of questions, deep, important questions about their family, their life, their plans, then rapport must be gained. Rapport. So what is rapport? Right? And I don't know if you've had any training in this topic of rapport, but it's transformational. Changes your life forever. So rapport stems upon the fact that people like people just like themselves. People like people just like themselves. But it's not like, hey, I like, soccer. Therefore, I like all people that like soccer. No, it's not that. You might like, diving. So do you like everybody who likes diving? No, right? Some of the ladies, you like getting your hair done at a particular salon. Does that mean that you like everybody at the salon? No. People like people with similar behavior patterns. And that is the game. It's similar behavior patterns. So what does that mean? So rapport means, people feel, you feel comfortable with someone. When you have a rapport, you feel comfortable with them. And what that means is they have a similar behavior pattern, speech pattern as you. You guys have similar behaviors. Rapport means that you're open to conversation. Like, oh, great, let's have a conversation, right? Boom, boom, boom. No big deal. Conversation flows. When there's rapport, there's no fear, there's no resistance. So when you guys, when you're prospecting, you're meeting people for the first time, when you have a lot of fear and there's a lot of resistance, and it's really tough, that's the opposite of rapport. When there's lots of rapport, you start talking to them and it's like so easy and they answer your questions and all of a sudden you are comfortable and you're having this amazing conversation. They're answering and they're telling you about this and then you're sharing and then next thing you know, you've been on the phone with them for 5-10 minutes and you're like, whoa, this was amazing. That's rapport. When there's rapport, there's a basic sense of trust. So, when you ask them, hey, would you like a home evaluation report? They're like, yeah, that sounds great. Hey, would you like to meet face-to-face with my boss? My boss is a really excellent, real estate agent. They're like, sure, that sounds awesome. There's a basic level of trust there. Rapport really creates that. So let's dive in, why is this rapport thing so important to us? Bottom line is, we want them to feel comfortable with you so that they answer all the questions. Rapport is all about eliminating all of that uncomfortable resistance. Rapport allows you to relax, allows them to relax, and really ultimately to enjoy the conversation. That's rapport. Okay? So, how do you create this rapport? Because remember, we talked about its behavior patterns. It's not like, hey, you like soccer and I like soccer, therefore we have rapport. It's behavior patterns. So what is that? So what are some of the things that we need to do to create rapport? Well, rapport starts immediately when you answer the phone. So some of you are getting really good at this. For my newer trainees, you really need to work on mimicking their hello or their hi. Hello, 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 hi. Hi, who's this? Hi, this is Patrick, who's this? Hello, this is Patrick. We need to mimic how they say hello or hi to perfection, because that's how you start into syncing yourself up to their behavior pattern. The behavior pattern is how they say hello or hi, how they introduce themselves. That's a behavior pattern. So mimicking that is critical, because that's how you start the rapport process, mimicking their behavior pattern. Now, another way we create rapport is we match, are they a fast talker or are they a slow talker? As I was prospecting this morning, I got a hold of this older lady and she's like, hello. And I was like, hello, this is Patrick, and I was looking for the owner of blah, blah, blah. And, and she's like, very sweet. So what did I was very sweet. And she was talking about this pace. So I slowed down and was at this pace. Then I got a hold of this guy in Carlsbad, Joe. Hi, this is Joe. Hi, Joe, this is Patrick. I'm calling about. Well, what is this about? No, I don't own that property. Okay, you don't own that property, so this is how, so I sped up because that's his behavior pattern, right? And remember, people like themselves. So when I softened up for the soft lady, she was we were very instantly comfortable. Instantly she started talking to me, telling me more than I needed to know. You know, Joe, super fast. I was boom, 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 boom. And we were in the same zone, same behavior pattern. Next thing you know, he's happy to have a conversation with me because I have the same speech behavior pattern as him. And we were starting to establish some rapport. And when we ended the call, he was like, okay, have a good day. How you know you're doing a good job with building rapport is instead of them being pissed off at you when they're hanging up the phone, they thank you for calling. People that I was building rapport with this morning, even though I only made 10 contacts, I probably got one solid lead at the 10 contacts, but everybody seemed to have a good time talking to me on the phone because I was mimicking their behavior pattern, mimicking their hi, their hello, their fast talker, slow talker. I was right in there with them, and it was fun. I was actually enjoying it. Now, also, we've got to mirror their energy level. Are they a loud talker, really aggressive, super da-da-da-da, and you're like, oh, hi, I was calling because anti-rapport. They're going to get pissed at you. You know, if you're like, hi, this is Patrick, how's it going? And they're like, hi, what are you calling me about? Well, I'm calling you because da-da-da-da-da. Well, they're going to retract, mirroring their energy level. So if you're sitting down all the time while prospecting, that's kind of a mistake. You know, standing up is the way to have the most energy. I'm standing now with my headset in front of my screen, in front of my desk, move the chair out of the way, boom. I set up a standing station for prospecting. So I got a screen, I got it's kind of like a little shelf. I move my stuff over onto here and I prospect from here standing up. Right? But if I got a really slow talk, I probably need to sit down just so I could soften up and not be so intense. So how you create rapport is you mimic, you match, and you mirror their behavior pattern, and you sync up. That's how it gets done, right? Now, for advanced, you mimic their accents, and you mimic their emotional states. You mimic their accents, you mimic their emotional states. Now, a lot of people get weird about accents. Listen, it's not weird. How many of you know someone who moved to England? They moved to England. What did they naturally start doing? They had an English accent. They started mimicking these speech patterns in England. Then someone moves to Southern California, right? I think Darwin now has a Southern California accent. Because when you move your sister moved to Texas. So if you go visit your sister in Texas, you're naturally going to start being like y'all, and you're going to, the vowels in Texas, y'all, long extended vowels. If you didn't do that, you would be out of rapport. So if you go to England, you just naturally, if I go to France, naturally I'm going to, je ne sais pas, little French accent, naturally. It's not unnatural. It's not manipulation. It's building rapport. Okay, it's being connected with people. Emotional states, of course, as you start contacting expireds. I was calling some people this morning at 8 a.m. and, they're waking up. So I'm like, oh, hi, this is Patrick, and I was checking about the property that was for sale. Right? Boom. I just was right down in that low state. I got a hold of this one guy. He's all happy. Hey, good morning. Who's this? Oh, hey, it's Patrick. How's it going? I got one lady frustrated. Oh, why did you get my number? Like this is the 5th person that's gotten my number. Oh, man. Darn it. I'm so sorry for you. Gosh, I'm going to take your number off the list. Oh, that's got to suck. I was mimicking her emotional state. And then she's like, I know. And I'm like, gosh, that sucks. I'm so sorry. I'm for sure taking you off my list, but unfortunately, you're probably on some other people's lists, so you're going to get a couple more of these calls. And man, I'm so sorry for you on that. And she was like, well, thank you, thanking me. She thanked me. Why did she thank me? It's because I built rapport with her on her emotional state. And she was appreciative of me. Why? Because I was mimicking her behavior. And she was, instead of, she leaves the call, even though it's the wrong number, she's totally irritated. She's thanking me. Why was she thanking me? It's because I built rapport with her. Okay, so you can see why this is so powerful. So, what's the difference between mimicking and mocking? Mimicking and mocking, right? So mimicking, your intention is rapport. My intention, I intend to create rapport with them. My intention is to create comfort with them. My intention is to develop relationship with them, right? That's my intention with the mimicking, mirroring, and matching. Mocking is obviously making fun of negative intentions, right? So if you're mocking, the negative intentions is obviously what's present. So that's we don't do that, okay? So, people ask this all the time. It's a really good question. So how do you know that you've achieved rapport? It's great. Well, they just feel comfortable with you. That's how you know. So all of a sudden you're just like, I'm having a good conversation. We're just in the flow together. Right? They're answering all your questions. So every time you ask a question, they completely answer it. They just seem really easy to talk to. Oh, gosh, that person was just so easy to talk to. That was rapport, right? You are enjoying the experience. That's rapport. So, obviously, would you guys agree? That's what we want right there. We want to feel comfortable. We want them to answer all of our questions. We want it to experience that they're just easy to talk to, and we're enjoying the experience. That's what happens when you establish rapport. Now, how do we know we're out of rapport? Which is pretty much most of you most of the time, right? So they don't answer your questions, right? They hang up on you and they're irritated. Conversation number 2 is important. The conversation seems hard work. It's like I can't get them to answer anything. It's so uncomfortable, right? When they're in a hurry to get off the phone with you, for some reason, everybody just wanted to keep talking to you this morning. Even though they weren't a lead, they weren't, like 9 out of the 10 people were not an opportunity. But the 9 people, for some reason, didn't want to get off the phone with me. We politely let each other off the phone, and I said, have a great day, and they said the same thing back to me. But when they're like, get off the phone with you, that's when you're out of rapport. Now, I did have one call. We were totally out of rapport. It was kind of he was like, I know I just woke him up. He definitely had more of a Middle Eastern accent, and I wasn't quite able to sync up with him. I tried, so he stayed with me for a little bit. But we were so out of rapport with kind of our accent and with our speech pattern that he just hung up on me. So it was like, well, I definitely did not get rapport with that guy. See, that's how you know didn't get rapport. So the best way to practice rapport is to do the opposite intentionally 1 time per day. So you can actually just be like, experience no rapport. So with one call, If they're a super soft talker, just be like really loud. Oh, hi, I'm calling about because, and talk really fast if they're like a really soft, slow talker. If they're like a really fast talker, super loud, just be super soft. You know, like Gail, obviously, that's not going to be a problem for you, right? Okay? So have fun with that. This is a really important exercise for you to consciously be aware of these differences and to experience it. Okay, so make sure you do that exercise. So what does mimic, when you start to mimic, mirror, and match, what does that tell you? Right? It tells you a lot. And this is where it gets exciting, is it tells you really what personality type that you're talking to. And those of you that have done some of the training with me and been in it for a while, we talked about personality types. We'll do that in the next couple of days or so for those of you that are newer. But the personality types is what this whole thing tells you. So when I talked to Joe and he was like this, which personality type was he? Driver. When I talked to the lady that was soft and sweet and very nice, and we had a great conversation, and you know, she was actually struggling because her son-in-law was the previous agent, and she really just doesn't know what to do because the son-in-law listed the house for 6 months. It didn't sell. It's a $2.5 million house in Del Mar. So she's like, we're just not sure what we're going to do. And I was like, oh, what personality type was she? Total amiable. Nope, right? See, what happened is when you start to mimic, mirror, and match, you start to actually pick up which personality style are they. And I like the driver, analytical, expressive, amiable. That's one that I use. It's easy. If you're proficient with the DISC, the DISC, that's great too. It doesn't matter. They're both super effective, but it'll tell you. Right? Now, is it valuable if I'm following up on a lead, if I'm passing off a lead? Would it be hugely valuable for me to go, oh, okay, super fast talker, really intense, got the appointment, man, I better let my boss know, hey, this is a total driver. Boom. So in my notes, not only do I say time frame, motivation, reason why, but I put in driver. Whoa, that would be so valuable to me as your client if you gave me the personality type. Okay, the mimicking, mirroring, and matching really helps this for you. Okay, let's see what else we got. This is critical. So I just want you guys to know that most likely your first couple of appointments your first best call, like the call that you were like, I got something, Patrick, I set an appointment, I got a home evaluation, like your first couple, I promise you, it's because you were the same personality type. I promise you this, right? And if it wasn't the first one, it was one of your first ones, right? And I saw this all the time when I used to teach when I was the sales manager and I was hiring new telemarketers for my dad's company, and I'd bring them in and train them for a week, and then I'd take them and go get them on the phone. What would happen is inevitably their first sale was always someone of the same personality type. Because remember, people like themselves. Their same behavior patterns. So my analyticals would totally get a sale from an analytical because they would just analyze everything to death, and they'd be on the phone for an hour, and then they'd finally, sign up. My drivers would just rip the script right away, and then someone who was also a driver would just be right on pace with them, and then just be like, yep, let's do it, sign up. Right? The expressives would just, woo, this is so much fun, and I love this, how, what if I do, have so much fun together, sign up. So I just want you guys to know, that's why it's so important for us to practice mimicking, mirroring, and matching, their behavior patterns, because then you gain maximum versatility for all of the different personality types. Then you can set an appointment with any personality type, not just yours. So if your results are really low right now, like you've been, with me for a month or 2 months and you're really not getting a lot of appointments, I promise you, you're not mimicking, mirroring, and matching at a high level. For those of you that are getting a lot of appointments and doing very well, following the same darn scripts, with the same services, with the same dialers, with the same numbers, you are good at your versatility, making the adjustments, the adjusting for the fast talker, the slow talker, the loud talker, the aggressive, right? It's always the same. Those that are good at this produce extraordinary results when prospecting. Okay? So our goal is to be able to create, and I want this as an affirmation, create rapport, create trust, create respect with anyone, anytime, anywhere, under any circumstances. That's the game. Could you imagine if you were able to do that? Now, some of my single, young males in the program, obviously there's huge value out of that. Could you imagine if you can create rapport, trust, and respect with any girl, anywhere, anytime, under any circumstances? That's a joke. Okay? So becoming a power prospector gives you the opportunity to work on this every day. Every time you pick up the phone, you get an opportunity to practice gaining rapport, practice mimicking, practice mirroring, practice, creating trust with complete strangers. That is insanely powerful. Unbelievable. So let's take a look at some of the affirmations that we need to work on. So I had to, this morning, I hadn't prospected in a week. I was off, and I barely prospected in the last 2 years. So, I was uncomfortable when I was going to prospect this morning. So guess what I was doing? I was giving myself some affirmation pep talk. Patrick, you are awesome at building rapport with people. You are so good on the phone. Come on, let's make this happen. You can build rapport with anyone, anytime, anywhere, in any circumstances, right? You mimic and mirror match everyone you talk to. So I just gave myself some affirmations and I said, boom, turn on the mojo and start going. So I build rapport with everyone I talk to. That's an affirmation. I mimic and mirror the way people speak. People feel comfortable with me because I build rapport instantly. Great affirmation. I enjoy meeting new people every day. That was one I used to use all the time when I was in the beginning of my career. I enjoy, because I didn't. It was uncomfortable for me. So I was like, I just had to really do it. Gosh, I enjoy meeting new people every day. Affirmation. I mimic how people answer the phone every time. Got to remind ourselves. Great affirmation, right? I can build rapport with anyone, anytime, anywhere. Great affirmation. Okay, so some of you guys need to put these affirmations in before you start your prospecting session every day, just to kind of remind yourself. These are, when you do affirmations, like reminding yourself of these important skills. And you're like, yes, okay, I build rapport. I mimic every time someone answers the phone, I mimic it. I get rapport with anyone, anytime, anywhere. Right? I mirror and match them exactly how they are. Right? People feel comfortable with me because I build rapport. And that just, I was saying that, man. I'm like, let's get me on the phone. Let me go talk to some people. Let me practice this skill. Okay? Affirmation's critical. So, I hope that was valuable for you guys. Let's wrap up